It's Nolan. What's going on, beautiful people? It's the kid J Nolan here. Welcome back to another episode of Inside the Industry, your number one source for music, entertainment, commentary, and breakdowns. We got a stacked show for y'all. Today, we're going to be talking about Megan Thee Stallion. A lot to talk about with Megan, as a matter of fact, as far as adding new tour dates falling off of the tour, new album on the way, sample clearance issues, modifications to the album on the day before the album is set to release. She's got a lot going on, I should say, but she's handling it well. She's making sure everything is taken care of. She's dotting her dotting her I's, crossing the T's. Shit, I'm the one that's fucked up, not her. Right? We're going to talk about Miss JT and her OK remix on the way, which will be dropping soon with Jeezy. We're going to talk about Normani and the Rollout. Remember I talked about her album not too long ago. I enjoyed the album, but I also said that the Rollout was not very impressive to me. She comes out and says she agrees. We're going to talk about Victoria Monet because there's a woman online that's alleging that they had the same father. And, basically there's this on Father's Day, Victoria Monet came out and took photos with her biological father, who she was only able to meet at this stage in her life. This other young lady says, "God damn, it's so nice to see that y'all were able to link up, because when I reached out to his ass, he wasn't so receptive. He didn't want to be a part of my life." So we're going to get into that and talk about the alleged stepsister. And then we're also going to be talking about Sexy Red very briefly. And I'm going to let it be known today. I think moving forward, Sexy Red will be in the no-fly list for Inside the Industry. I feel like I don't have anything good or constructive to say about her. And based on what she's been putting out, her messaging, her aesthetic, I don't feel like it's my place to promote her in any way, shape, form, or fashion. So we'll talk about her one final time, and she will be on the no-fly zone, right? That's just where I stand, because I just feel like there is an agenda behind her that I personally don't wish to feed into. And this is kind of the Trinidad James effect, if I must say so myself. Shout out to Trinidad James, by the way. No offense, no diss. But I remember when he came out with All Gold Everything and everybody was talking about him, more people were spreading the fact that they didn't like his music or didn't like his image or didn't like, people thought that he was a minstrel show. Same conversation is happening with Sexy Red right now. And when you do this rage baiting content and you just shit on somebody all day, every day, and you have nothing good or constructive or positive to say about that person, you're still effectively promoting them and putting them in the spotlight, which I don't want to use my platform to do. So again, I'm only speaking on her today to let y'all know the buck stops here. I saw some people that were in my chat for other videos asking if I had seen her new video. The one with, I guess, Moneybag, is it? Or whomever she's working with, 42 Doug. I think it was 42 Doug. I didn't sit and actually watch the real video, but I did see clips of it online. And I was just like, I understand why people reached out to me, because it was so trash that they wanted to get my reaction on it. But when I just really kind of looked at the situation for what it was, I was like, I don't really have a reaction for this other than I'm not here for it. You know what I mean? So that's where I'm at on that. Okay? We're going to move on with the show and get into Megan first, though. All right? Cool. So as we all know, Megan is opening up the BET Awards this Sunday. Not sure what she's going to be performing, if she's going to go into it with music that's already out there that we know, the singles, or if she's going to perform something new from the album, you know, because typically when artists open up the show, they do something that maybe people haven't heard before. Maybe she does a medley of like 2 records, maybe something new mixed in with one of the previous singles. But of course, this is coming after the album, Megan, hits the streets, hits everybody. I know a lot of people out there have been waiting on this, anticipating this very heavily. A lot of subscribers, a lot of insiders on the channel have been present at these tour dates, spent good money on them seats. So anybody out there that's been trying to tell me otherwise about how well her tour is performing, I have verifiable proof from the insiders. All right, but she did run into a little bit of a hitch with the album, some sample clearance issues. I do believe it's the Otaku record, because I remember when I went through the track listing for the album, I said, this sounds like that might be sampling some anime shit. Y'all could go back a couple videos and I didn't know no better, but it just felt like, that's probably sampling some anime shit. So come to find out, one of the records on the album was indeed sampling some anime stuff. And the original owners of the show and the music behind the show came out and set up some restrictions for her on the record. I'm going to go ahead and pull up Megan talking about this so she can get into it, and then we'll have a conversation about it afterwards. All right? Sounds fair? Cool.
Y'all would never believe what the motherfucker just happened to me. Y'all know how I told y'all I got an anime sample on my album. I recorded the song before I asked for clearance. So when I sent the people the song, they was like, they told me, okay, you got to change some words. I said, okay, cool. I changed some words. Then they said, okay, if you shoot a video to this song, you cannot cosplay any of the characters in the show. I ain't gonna do it. I'm gonna follow the rules because I ain't gonna do it. Because I want this song real bad. Last night, we get an email. They said, actually, I need you to take out the names of the characters that's in the show. Take out the names of the characters that's in the show. That's the whole song. That makes the song make sense. I just had to go in the little studio that we be making up in here, and I had to change the names. I really hope y'all think this shit sound fire, because I had to jump through 8 million hoops to get this shit. Like I said, I'm grateful. I'm not complaining. But change the names. Change the names the day before the album out.
Okay, so that was Megan talking about the issue with the sample clearance. And unfortunately, she was in a bit of a pickle. Now, when it comes to clearing a sample in hip hop, or just in music, period, because it's not exclusive to hip hop, people do sample in other genres. The copyright holder, the people that either wrote the song, created the song, owned the song, the studio, whatever it is, they have a lot of power when it comes to clearing a sample, right? Because you're at their mercy. They can outright say no, which is what happens in a lot of cases. Some of the best music in hip hop has been hindered from ever being released to the public in a commercial fashion because of sample clearances gone wrong. Or they can impose certain guidelines and restrictions on your record to say, hey, you can either do everything that we ask of you, which could be in some situations, they ask for a majority of the royalties. In some situations, especially let's say if the song gets leaked out before you actually get the clearance, they may say, now that it's out, we want 100% of the royalties, right? You have the ability to still put it out, put it on your album, but all the royalties generated off of that particular song, if you release it as a single or whatever, that's coming to us. All of the publishing royalties that get generated off that record, if it gets synced, if it gets this, that, and the third, we need them royalties 100%. There's artists out there that have gone through that. But then you also have situations like if y'all remember Slippin' by DMX, right? The entire album was explicit, extremely explicit. But then you get to Slippin', Fall, I Can't Get Up. And if you could search all the corners of the internet, you will never find a version of Slippin' that actually has the curse words in it. And the reason why that's so is because the original sample owner, I think it was actually the people who composed the sample, they had a restriction that says, we don't really care for hip hop. So if we're going to allow you to rap over our original music, you cannot curse over our song. Don't care what the message is. Don't care what creative reason you thought it was okay or necessary for you to curse on this particular song. But if you want us to clear this for you, there shall be no curse words on this record. And the song ended up coming out as a single with a music video. It ended up being on DMX's album nonetheless. And they just had the deal. So now Megan Thee Stallion is finding herself in a very similar position, in the very same position, as a matter of fact, because the owners of the anime studio that owned the record that she sampled, they came to the table and said, here's a list of things that you can't do. When they first had a conversation, they said, okay, all of that is nice. Then they said, you got to change a couple things here. Okay, I'll change a couple things. Boom. Next thing you know, week of the album getting ready to drop, they come back and say, you can't cosplay none of the characters, right? So whatever show this is from, you can't cosplay as none of those characters. You can't do no music videos looking like those characters. Okay, cool. I won't do that. As a matter of fact, in the song, you're actually naming some of the characters from our show. We don't want that neither. To me, it sounds like they were trying to impose as many restrictions as they possibly could that would make her give up, that would make her can the song. It sounds to me like they were not actually welcome to the idea of their song being sampled, period. And I'm willing to believe, and this is just me going off on my own creative, my own thought process. I can't say that this is true. And I always like to give y'all that just quick disclaimer. I feel like they were not in a rush to be associated with whatever it is she's talking about on this record. If she's talking about twerking, if she's talking about backing her ass up, if she's talking about getting some D, you know what I'm saying? She's a very provocative artist. She's a very sexually liberated type of artist. I think they say, we don't want our show, our music from this show being associated with that. If you can change those lyrics, if you could change some of they might have said you got to take some of the cuss words out. If you're using a word like pussy, we don't want that. Right? Because the ball is in their court. You know, she likes to be scantily clad. Not to say that she's any different from people in Japan that like to dress revealingly, right? I'm not saying that in any way. I'm just saying the studio or whomever owns that song might have been trying to put their own, you know what I'm saying, trying to play moral police. So she goes in there, she makes that happen. Now they're saying you can't cosplay none of the characters. And it was okay with you naming the characters at first, but now we don't even want that. So now you got to replace those names with some other shit, which completely kills the messaging from what it sounds like to me, because the whole rollout of this album has been hinged upon the fact that she was referring to different anime shows, different characters, right? With Boa, she went with the video game theme. So she's went with this whole, you know, kind of blurred type of rollout, the whole almost like a Comic-Con-ish rollout where we're seeing that she's referencing manga. We see she's referencing anime. We see she's referencing Japanese video game style of artwork and all this different type of stuff, because that's what she's genuinely been interested in, at least as far back as the pandemic as I can remember, but even further than that probably. So these things are important to her, but now she's getting all these barriers. A nigga like me would have said, fuck ya. Y'all not finna do this to me on the week of my album. I call Spotify. I call all the DSP, Spotify, Apple. Y'all motherfuckers want me to come up there for interviews, tour the motherfucking place, all that. Take the song down. Don't release the album with that shit on it. Who I got to call to take it down? Fuck them. You won't get a dime out of me. Y'all niggas can suck my dick. You know what I mean? Y'all motherfuckers can suck me. But she was gracious. She did everything that was needed. She created a makeshift studio and everything to where she had to lay this shit down and recreate her own record just so that her album could be completely finished and ready for the people as of June 28th. It's fucked up. Also, right, Megan had to come out, and what was good for the geese was not good for the gander, because she came out and had to add some new tour dates in America. She's cycling back to Atlanta because things weren't all that great when she came the first time. So she's got new dates for the tour added. I'm about to pull these up so I can know what the hell I'm talking about. So July 2nd, she'll be in Atlanta, coming back to the A. July 3rd, she'll be in Charlotte. The 27th, she'll be in DC. And then after that, she'll be in Chicago on August 8th. August 1st. Right? But on the heels of that announcement, she also had to let it be known that her Glasgow show, which was set for, I believe, July 4th, is no longer a thing. And people are mad. People are angry. She came out and offered an explanation saying that, there was some big multiplex or something that was undergoing construction. Therefore, she was not going to be able to be out there during that time. It was conflicting with the actual construction. Unfortunately for Megan, the Glasgow OVO Hydro show or venue came out and said otherwise. I find it very interesting that it's called the OVO Hydro. Does that have any association with that boy over there? Because if it is, I can see why she ain't going to that motherfucker too. Oh, man. So, according to Daily Record, they say fans were gutted following the news that Megan Thee Stallion's Glasgow show had been canceled just 1 week before she was due to perform, with the venue now speaking out. She disappointed thousands of fans who were set to attend the show at the OVO Hydro on July 4th next week, as the star confirmed the event had been canceled as of June 26th. Taking to social media, she wrote, "To my Glasgow hotties, I promise I'll be there soon. The venue informed us of a complex construction project that will close the venue, forcing us to cancel the show, but we will find a date in the future. I love y'all and can't wait to see you." The announcement had come out, all was well. And typically when these shows get postponed or canceled or whatever, you either get a refund or you get a ticket to the rescheduled date. Nonetheless, the venue comes out. Well, we'll get to it in a second. So the venue removed the performance from its website at the time, and they've now issued a statement of their own. According to reports by LBC News, a spokesperson says Megan Thee Stallion was scheduled to perform her Hot Girl Summer Tour here on 4th of July. This date could have indeed gone ahead. However, the artist needed to remove the original date, and the venue was unavailable on the dates requested for rescheduling. Furthermore, they state, "We hope to welcome Megan Thee Stallion back to the OVO Hydro soon." So they coming out and saying, hey, whatever she told y'all about the July 4th date not being available because we got to do construction, they're saying she's capping. They're saying she lied. Now, I don't know how Megan is going to respond to this situation, right? There's some people out there in the world, in the zeitgeist of hip hop, that already don't believe Megan is forthcoming in all things. They feel like she be out here lying. Things that we don't necessarily want to delve all the way into. But there's people out there that believe she's dishonest. people that get wind of this announcement from the stadium, this is going to add even more fuel to that fire. So again, I don't know how she's going to respond to this. I don't know if she actually goes back to the OVO Hydro. She might try to find another arena to go to altogether, because why would y'all come out and discredit my story when I'm trying to come out there with y'all anyway? We finna make money together. I'm finna bring, you know what I'm saying? I'm finna bring an audience to y'all motherfucking stadium. I'm finna stimulate the economy in y'all backyard, and you gonna come out and tell folks I'm capping? Shit, Glasgow, fuck you. I don't know. We gonna see. They say the show was set to kick off the European and UK leg of the rapper's tour, with shows also taking place in Manchester and London. The cancellation news comes after Megan added extra dates to the US leg of her tour on July 2nd and 3rd in Atlanta. An email shared by fans on social media stated that they will automatically be refunded for their ticket purchase. Automatic refund. Okay. So again, she wanted to reschedule dates. The stadium says all the other dates that you're proposing to us are unavailable. Presumably because of the actual construction, but she's saying that was already in place because all of those dates were X'd out. They say, nah, we was available to do it for the 4th, but you lying to the people. Perhaps the truth will come back out on another day. Perhaps she responds to this. We'll see. Okay. We're gonna keep this thing rolling with Megan news for the most part. We're gonna get into some other stuff, of course, as I told y'all before. But keeping in line with Meg, there's a bit of an update for her lawsuit with Emilio Pucci, or Emilio Garcia, to call him by his real name. Now, we know the basis of this case. We've talked about it. We've gone through the lawsuit, the motion and everything. But there is a little bit of an update. Some names are now being named specifically. So let's get into it. Lawyers for rapper Megan Thee Stallion are asking a California judge to dismiss her as a defendant in a lawsuit with her former photographer. They also want the case transferred to New York and say she'll have to reschedule concert dates if it isn't. A motion filed earlier this week says that Emilio's lawsuit has no legitimate ties to California and should be dismissed for lack of jurisdiction. Okay? They state that this case involves an alleged incident that occurred out of the country, and out of state plaintiff and an out-of-state defendant with no minimum contacts with California, according to the 24-page motion from Mari F. Henderson, Julian T. Schoen, and Alex Spiro of Quinn Emanuel, Urquhart and Sullivan LLP. That is quite a name for a law firm, but Alex Spiro ain't no fucking joke. I've told y'all that multiple times. Megan is a resident of Miami, Florida, who does not own property in California. They state Miss Pete regularly performs both national and international tour dates in cities such as New York, Memphis, Denver, Tokyo, London, Berlin, Paris, Rio de Janeiro, and many others. Referring to her legal name, Megan Pete, of her 45 tour dates in 2022, only 4 were in California. If a judge dismisses Megan as a defendant because of lack of jurisdiction, the order likely will allow for the claims to be refiled against her in New York. Her lawyers are expected to seek permanent dismissal over the merits of the claims at a later date. So they want this thing tossed out, period. But they're saying you filed this in California when we have no connection to California other than the fact that we've stayed there a few times for tour dates. Emilio's lawsuit alleges he was wrongfully classified as a contractor instead of a full-time employee when he toured the world with Megan as her photographer from March 2020 to June of 2023. It includes a claim of hostile work environment harassment and alleges Garcia witnessed Megan having some sort of sexual relation with a woman in a car in Ibiza, and later was insulted by her repeatedly after he complained about such working conditions. In a court filing last month, Megan's lawyers called Garcia a con artist who wants to tarnish her reputation. I could have went forward with that, but the English in my mind wasn't letting me do that. After he was fired for falsifying invoices and overcharging. The dismissal motion does not argue the merits of Garcia's 9 claims, but it calls them false and says the harm against Garcia does not exist. Megan's lawyers moved the lawsuit to federal court last month and said it should be sent to the Southern District of New York in Manhattan because Garcia's contract specifies disputes have jurisdiction in New York State. Along with this dismissal motion, they filed a 24-page motion seeking to officially transfer the case. Right? We'll keep going. Megan's lawyers say she'll be greatly inconvenienced if this case stays in California. Quote, they say, she's currently on a worldwide tour with stops in Dallas, Glasgow, well, Glasgow ain't there no more, Manchester, Paris, Dublin, London, and many others, according to the motion. If this case remains in California, she will not only be required to reschedule these tour dates, but she will also be required to repeatedly fly across the country to participate in hearings, discovery, and a potential trial at her own expense. Megan's management company, Roc Nation, is also a defendant in the case. This dismissal motion does not include the company, but describes it as a sham defendant. The motion says Garcia's lawyers likely will want to put Roc Nation officials under oath for depositions, including the CFO, Sean Mulvihill, and Chief CEO, Desi Perez, who reside in New York and New Jersey and are subject to Southern District of New York subpoenas. Okay? It also says Megan's security guard, Tom Lang, like I told y'all, names are being named this time, who was present for several interactions between Emilio and Megan, lives in New York and will be a defense witness. Megan's accounts at Rockefeller Capital Management, Isabel Kuzmic, Jason McMillan, and Alexandra Sidoti are also potential defense witnesses, and all of them live in New York. Another witness may be Akil McCoy, the makeup artist that Emilio purports to have confided in, but who is not supportive of these allegations. According to the motion, McCoy lives in Atlanta, so the makeup artist says you're lying. You confided in her and she says, nigga, you capping. Megan's lawyers also plan to identify Garcia's other employers to try to refute his claim that he was wrongfully classified as a contractor and should be paid back wages for breaks and overtime that he would be due to as a full-time employee. After further discovery is complete, defendants intend to identify and call these clients as witnesses to disprove his misclassification claims and false allegations that he only worked for Miss Pete, according to a declaration from Henderson. Upon information and belief, plaintiffs' other clients are citizens of Texas. And I showed y'all that just in a simple video breaking that down of other clients he was working with in the midst of working with Megan. So if I could put that on display, they'll have no issue with that. Other potential witnesses include Megan's friends T. Ferris and Jalea Mitchell, who were present for her interactions with Emilio. I don't know why you identify T. Ferris as a friend. He's her co-manager. They say both Mr. Ferris and Mitchell live in Texas and will cooperate with discovery efforts in New York, according to the motion. In sum, New York is a more convenient location for the non-party witnesses. If you got all these witnesses that need to be there and they live in New York and all the businesses are registered or doing business in New York, yeah, that makes sense. Plus, if I gotta be honest, seems like she's getting some home field advantage. A hearing on the dismissal and transfer motions is scheduled for August 22nd before U.S. District Judge Hernan D. Vera in Los Angeles, which they're trying to get thrown out and rescheduled in New York. Okay? So just giving y'all the update on that. Witnesses have been named and they're trying to get this thing to New York. They really want to get it thrown out once it gets, moved. But it's going to be interesting to see how this thing plays out. I don't think homie has a leg to stand on. But that's just my assumption. Okay? Do I have anything else Megan related that I need to get out there before we move on with the show? No. Okay. So next up, let's get into JT. This is going to be brief, so I might as well talk about it now. JT's got the new OK remix with Jeezy coming out. I think this is actually pretty dope. If y'all can remember when she actually put the snippet out for OK, I said I fucked with it. The song actually dropped. I fucked with it. And I said, hey, she need to get a remix with Jeezy. There were some people out there that said, nah, I feel like Gucci should get on that. I said, nah, fuck that. I hear Jeezy. Sounds like she heard the same thing I was hearing. Even though I don't be in agreement with JT all the time, I do agree with this move to get the Snowman. It sounded like a Shouted Red beat to me. That's just, we ain't gonna go too far on that. But I'm excited to hear what he does on that. I feel vindicated in my claims. I feel vindicated in my assertion and assumption that she should have did that. So I'm riding high, baby. You know what I'm saying? I'm not the biggest fan of JT, but I did like this record. I like the fact that she's still pushing it. You know what I'm saying? There was once upon a time in music history where artists used to push one record for damn near a year. She's about halfway there. I'm not mad at it. She did her own remix at first, added a new verse. Now she coming back with a new Jeezy verse. I'm not mad at that, especially if the people are open and receptive to it, which it seems to be that way online. I ain't gonna lie, when I saw them do that little promo video and he showed up with that motherfucking that tank top looking like a G-Unit tank top, I said, whoa, this ain't the Snowman. This might be the snow shoveler, but this ain't the Snowman. What the hell is that? Oh man, he must have had to put PTO in to show up for JT on that one. Like, man, fuck it. What the hell? She out here, you know what I'm saying, with her Lil Kim get up. She was paying homage to Lil Kim. This nigga out here paying homage to a goddamn lawn company. Not even lawn company. Like the nigga that stay next door to you say, hey, you need somebody to mow your lawn? I can do it for 25. That's how he looked to me. What the hell? Shout out to that though. I will listen to the record. It seems like they might actually have a music video coming for that version since they're doing visuals in the same place. I found that to be interesting. So maybe a music video comes for that. I'd be here for it, long as he ain't over there looking like a goddamn landscaper. Okay? Like I said, quick update on that. Moving forward, we're going to get into Miss Normani. Now, I like the Normani album, Dopamine. We talked about it. We talked about some of the controversy surrounding it. Talked about one of the disgruntled writers who contributed to the project and the song ended up not making it. I talked about how I thought that there was a lack of visuals, a lack of continuity going on with the rollout of this project, you know. And Normani made a trip over there to the Terrell show. Shout out to the Terrell show, by the way. I fuck with them. He has some good interviews over there. You could tell he actually cares about music. You could tell that he actually appreciates and likes the artists that he brings on there, loves the artists, knows their catalog, knows their music, knows their lyrics, knows their melodies. He can sing. I fuck with the Terrell show. So she went over there, had a conversation, and of course, toward the end of the interview, he said, I would be remiss if I don't mention this. You know, everybody out here is wondering what the hell was going on with your rollout. And she was able to speak candidly about the situation and give us a little bit of insight. So let's go ahead and pull that up, shall we?
The words are roll out, okay? People have problems. They're upset. And they're questioning. Would you say for your debut album that that the promotional pieces, that everything came together exactly how you want it?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
What would you have done differently?
It's hard to answer that question only because I feel like there's been so much prior to even the rollout that has kind of affected the outcome and like the result of. I think that we were doing the best that we could with the cards that we were dealt and what was given. A lot's changed from the beginning of the process when it comes to this album up until now. In terms of the business, on my behalf, things could have just been handled more responsibly.
That's honest.
And then things happened that were just kind of inevitable in terms of like my team switched, which was for the better, by the grace of God. But in real time, like it didn't feel very good, especially with trying to put this album out and that feeling like yet another roadblock. So there had been plenty of times where I really didn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I wasn't necessarily sure like how this was gonna come out for real.
Thank you for being so honest about that, because there's a lot of things that the audience has no idea about. They're not privy to it whatsoever. So all they see is like, why isn't she doing this? Why isn't she doing that? Because this album is so good, we love it, but where's this, where's that? And it's like, man, the behind the scenes would really trip you out if you really knew.
And I think the misconception is whatever it is that they are wanting or wondering why, like I would have wanted to give that to them too, you know? Like it's not that I don't care. I feel like that bothers me when there is a misconception like that I don't either do enough because I've dedicated my entire being to this. You know, like my life, my real life, the human part of me has kind of been stifled because of me trying and desperately wanting to make this right for my fans who have waited for such a long time because they deserve that, you know? But yeah, I wanted the way that they want
like,
to.
We are
just
on the
as
same
bad.
team here.
Yeah.
The things that you guys are saying, like, I wish it was this, this, and this, same. But sometimes, like, this, at the end of the day, it's a business.
Right.
You know, this is a music business, and there's a lot that's out of your control.
A lot. I've tried to just focus on, like, being present and just knowing that the plans that God has for me are good, in spite of what the circumstances here look like, you know?
And that's why I keep telling you every time I see you, I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Because this has been such a labor, like, not only of love, but just of stress.
Yeah.
A stressful thing. And when you really know her history, if this album never came out, I'd be like, I understand. It's a blessing that it is out and that it is so good. Everything that happened, the good and the bad, fed into this project. Like the lessons that were learned, the things that you went through, all of that, purposeful. And you had to go through all of that in order to get to this album. If you came out with an album right after Motivation, who knows? To me, God is gonna always do things on his schedule. And I don't even try to understand his schedule. It's too much stuff on there. It's too many colors, okay? Too many fields, too many pages. I can't get into it. You just have to follow it.
Christ is my firm foundation.
All right. So that's Normani and Terrell talking about the rollout, the lack of some of the visuals that have, been disseminated to the public. Elsewhere in the interview, she also talked about her history with Fifth Harmony, feeling like she was kind of tokenized and used as, an accessory to the group, coming out, putting solo music out, putting out music that she wasn't all the way in love with or in support of. She even talked about the record Still that's on the Dopamine album, the one that samples Still Tipping. And she says she's not 100% in love with that record. And she says that she's always had it on her bucket list to sample that record and do something with it. But she said had it been 100% up to her, the outcome of that song would have been a lot more upbeat than what it is. I thought the record was dope. But for her, it came out not to her liking, and they still had to stand on it and put it on the album. So that just goes to show you some of what she's dealt with, not to mention stuff in her personal life with family and her parents being diagnosed with cancer, and the emotional toll that takes on a person, just wondering what the future holds for your parents So she's been through a lot. She was completely stifled for 6 years in limbo, trying to figure out when she was going to be able to put an album out. And she was at least able to do that. So I'm happy for her. I like majority of the album. There are some moments on there that I could have lived without. There are some moments that I felt could have stood some improvement. But nonetheless, for somebody in her position, I think she does have a music video ready. She said it was on her phone in the interview and ready to be, pressed a button. So hopefully we get that as well. Okay. Watching that interview, I see that she has like a very, I don't want to call her humble, but she's somewhat timid, very laid back and chill. Seems like she's a little hesitant to really pop her shit and go all the way with that. I know she has a foundation. As y'all saw, she was singing Christ is My Foundation as I was weaving out to come back and talk to y'all. And of course, within biblical context, humility is very important. But I enjoyed the interview. I was glad to see that, get a glimpse into who she was. I was glad that Terrell was able to ask the questions that people wanted to know while also not being disrespectful or facetious or imposing. It seemed like they had a couple of prior meetups that predated doing the interview, so they were able to get familiar and become associated with each other. He was able to meet her family and, have everybody in one accord. Her family was even there as she was doing the interview in the studio. So I'm not here to dogpile on Normani. I hope everything works out, and I hope those visuals are able to come out, and hopefully they could lead to even further success of the album. I believe it's currently, let me see what is, because the sales were reported. Y'all give me a second here. She sold about 12,000 album equivalents with the support of the singles 159 and Candy Paint, as well as the previously released Wild Side featuring Cardi B, which was number 14 on the Hot 100 at its peak. The album itself debuted at number 91 on the Billboard 200. So, there is still some sort of hope that the album could climb the charts, maybe get promo run going, get some sort of tour, maybe opening up for another artist. I don't think she's ready for headline touring. Not to say that she's not a good performer, but just the lack of support from the label. She's gonna need some deliverables and things, some showing and proving that could convert into more sales, more support, and more people showing up. Okay? But salute to Normani. Next up, we're gonna get into shit. Give me a second. Let's get into Victoria Monet, and we'll talk about Sexy Red last. Okay? Now, as I told y'all in the beginning of the show, Victoria Monet came out and was pictured with her father on Father's Day, a man that she had never met in her life, had to track him down herself, not the other way around. He didn't make the necessary efforts to find her. She had even hoped that based on her stardom and her newfound fame, well, I won't say newfound fame, but her recent fame and success, that he would recognize her and make his way to her. Unfortunately, the story didn't play out that way, so she tracked him down, right? Next thing you know, there's a young lady on social media saying, oh my God, that's my dad. And he's a fucking deadbeat to me. He wasn't involved in my life. Now come to find out, Victoria Monet is my half sister. What the fuck? What's good, sis? You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to first play Victoria speaking about her experience in meeting their father or her father, because we don't know that this other young lady for sure is related, but why lie? And then we'll get into the other young lady's story. Okay?
I had a part of one of the reasons why I wanted to be as successful as I could be is because I had this weird feeling or just want or dream that I would be so famous that I would be on TV and he would recognize my face and see me and be like, oh my God, that's my girl, baby. Because I couldn't find him. He had such a common name that I would go through every name, and I'm aging myself, but in the phone book. In the phone book. And I was calling different, I would call different people and ask if, you know, with the same name and ask if they knew such and such. And just going through the whole thing. So I ended up finding him eventually on Facebook.
Wow.
Thank you, Facebook. And we met, and at first it was like he was just so surprised to hear from me, and he rejected it for a while. So like my first experience wasn't what I thought it was gonna be like open arms and come, you know, but we got there. We got there, and we finally decided to meet face to face. And the first time I met my dad, I was having a drink with him, which is crazy. But that same giddy feeling, like, I hope he likes me. I'm like, what should I wear that would make him proud? Like, kind of trying to gather all of these facts that maybe would make him proud. Like, I had good grades. Like, kind of going through the list. So it's really just awesome to see you know, just having this same kind of experience. And just a full circle. And do you feel like, because for me, I felt like having Hazel was kind of like his second chance to like be there, you know, like start over. This is your chance to like do what we, you know, we would have imagined that we would have had.
Absolutely.
So this here is the photo of Victoria and her father, long lost father, finally reunited and able to spend time together on Father's Day for the first Father's Day of their lives together. And now we've got this young lady days later who's come out and said, I'm glad you got a chance to meet him finally. I'm 23 and haven't seen him 20 years of my life, and he's never bothered to reach out to me. Wow, Anthony Dedamore, or however you spell it. So Victoria Monet is my half sister. That's her tweet that she came out with. This thing went ultraviolet and ultra viral. Shit, goddamn. 12 million views on that motherfucker. But now, let's get into her actual video talking about the situation, because she went on TikTok and expounded further on the situation, I guess, for anyone who thought that she was capping. Let's hear what she's got to say.
Y'all, so let me tell y'all real quick how small this world is. So y'all, I was asleep and I woke up with a missed call from my mom. So of course I called her back. And when I called her back, she sent me this picture that I'm about to show y'all. But before I show y'all the picture, I'm gonna give y'all a backstory first. So I'm 23 years old, and I was basically raised by my stepdad, who is my brother and sister dad. So my brother and sister, we have the same mom. Their dad raised me. You get what I'm saying? So I have never seen my biological father since I was like maybe 3 years old. And when I saw him when I was like 3 years old, it was only for like 20 minutes. Never heard from him on a birthday. Never heard from him on a holiday. I never heard from him, period. So then my mom sends me this picture. So y'all, this is the picture that was sent to me. And basically, that man right there is my biological father. And so y'all, growing up, like, of course, he was never in my life, so I only knew about one other sister that I had. Her name was Delaney, and she was in college. So, y'all, on Father's Day, Victoria Monet, she drops this picture, and it says, spending our first Father's Day together ever, a real blessing. The little girl in me is so happy, healing. And for the ones that don't know, Victoria Monet, she sings this song. And to the man in the picture, Anthony Dedamore, like, how are you even comfortable knowing that you still have a kid out here that you've never even bothered to meet, never even bothered to see me, check on me, nothing? And not only that, so basically Victoria Monet is my half sister. Like, y'all, this is a really small world, and I'm honestly glad that she got a chance to meet him because I never did. I'm glad she finally got a chance to spend time with him. But to him, Anthony Dedamore, you will never receive your full blessings because you still have a kid out here that you don't take care of. Like, you can't take care of one kid and you got 6. You can't take care of 3 kids, but you got 8. Like, what the hell is really going on? And y'all, I'm not saying that we look completely alike, but we definitely got the same nose. Like, we definitely have that nose. And y'all, the only question that I have for him is, what did I ever do to you for you not to be in my life? Like, what did I do? So y'all, this is what I went under her Twitter and I said, I'm glad you got a chance to meet him finally. I'm 23 and I haven't seen him in 20 years of my life. And he's never bothered to reach out to me. Wow, Anthony Dedamore, or however you spell it. So Victoria Monet is my half-sister. And y'all, honestly, I'm not even looking for him to be in my life. I'm not looking for him to take care of me. I just want one answer to one question. What did I ever do for you not to be in my life? So y'all, repost this video because I need answers.
So there y'all have it. And unfortunately, there's so many people out there in the world that have that exact same question for the man that played the other part in birthing them. But to be honest, I think in 99.9% of the scenarios, if you ever were to have that conversation, he's not going to say anything that you did wrong that made him not want to be present in your life. He's probably going to give you some sort of excuse, give you some sort of sob story about how it didn't work out with him and your moms, and I didn't know that you was my kid, and I had so much on my plate, I had to go do this, I went and did that, I was flipping waffles. You know what I mean? It's some bullshit, man. Look, if you out here spraying it up, you need to show up, man. That's all I can really say. I ain't gonna try to make this too light or too funny or nothing like that. Y'all know I'm a fucking clown, but I don't want to go there. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, for me, I'm not gonna say like my perspective on things has shifted since having a child, but now that I'm actually sitting in that seat as a father and knowing that there's so many people out there, not just women, but just people in general that have had to live their lives without that, or to live their lives in some sort of mystery about that, man. Like, my heart goes out to everybody that had to experience that. I didn't. I grew up knowing my father very well, although my mother and father didn't always see eye to eye, didn't always find great terms. You know, they ended up being amicable. I was able to have that experience of having both parents. But niggas got to tighten the fuck up, man. Especially when they be coming with this bullshit and be trying to, you know, everybody has a story. Everybody has legit excuses. I'll say that, you know. And what I mean by that is I saw a video recently that conveyed this perfectly. They say all excuses are valid, right? Because it makes sense in your mind and it applies. But what does that have to do with reality? What does that have to do with the actual actions that you chose in this life? Yes, the excuse is valid, but it doesn't negate any of the effects, the ramifications, or the impact that you've left on this earth despite your valid excuses. Right? So hopefully he's able to mosey his way over there. If he is indeed this young lady's father, mosey his way over there. She knew his name when she saw him. Make things right. Build a relationship. Listen more than he's willing to speak, because she's going to have a lot to get off her chest. Same way he was willing to work this out with Victoria Monet, because she's got all this star power and assets that she can probably pour into him. Let's see you pull the same maneuver with somebody who's not standing to benefit you in any other way besides having a connection with their biological parent. Okay? That's my stance on that. But I thought this shit was wild when I saw it on social media. Now, for my final act, We're going to get into Sexy Red, and then I'll go on with the rest of my day. Number one, folks were hitting me up to see about this no panties on shit. I didn't watch it. Saw clips. I think folks thought I was gonna, have a field day dissing her ass about it. But when I actually saw the clips of these ladies dancing over a camera, popping they motherfucking bare ass couches over it, I was highly disappointed in society. I almost went into a cocoon. I almost recreated Megan Thee Stallion's first album cover. I was that angry. I said, man, Lord, put me in a motherfucking cocoon. I don't want to be around these motherfuckers no more. I need protective custody. Oh, man. Then, next thing you know, I'm seeing this thing going on with her and Chief Keef and this ongoing story of, oh, is she smashing Keef Chief? Is she in a relationship with Keef Chief or not? And Chief Keef, I'm calling this nigga Keef Chief. Chief Keef is allegedly in a relationship with King Von's sister, but he's bouncing back and forth between her and Sexy Red and all this bullshit. She's going on stage performing with fucking MAGA hats on stage talking about make America sexy again, but we already know what the hat represents. She's out here advocating for Trump, which, hey, you have your political views. You're welcome to have them, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna have to agree. But she's out here at the Roots picnic with a big ass, giant 20, 30 foot MAGA hat on stage. I'm like, nah, fam, I can't support that. Right? It's already well known her entry into the music industry came with her bragging about having STIs and stuff, which I don't understand how anyone could use that as a marketing tactic. She leaked her own tape, smashing on a nigga. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. She leaked it. Right? She's out here looking like she's been delivered to us straight out of a 2006 time capsule, the worst of the period. Right? She looked like the type of person you see in the you just happen to need some shit at your house and be like, man, fuck it, I'm gonna go to Walmart at 10:30. You see the craziest looking characters at Walmart past 10 p.m. Motherfuckers that just seem like they fell from fucking fifth rock from the sun. Which might be Earth. Huh? I always just say that because of the fucking TV show. But y'all know what I mean. Goddamn Plutonians or some shit, man. Then she always doing this fucking weird ass blowfish pose. She's performing at schools or attempting to perform at schools with the debauchery that's in her music. A lot of kids love her shit because it gives them that shock value teenage angst music. I just can't support nothing about this lady. And now she's announced that she's about to launch a headline tour. Sexy runs for president with upcoming headlining U.S. tour. Tuesday, June 25th, the St. Louis native announced that she will be setting out on the Sexy Red for President tour in August. Of the 26 dates on the itinerary, 3 are blurred out on the official flyer. Hence, fans don't know the city and venue for the concert scheduled to take place on August 31st, September 23rd, and October 15th. She says, it's the motherfucking hood princess, Sexy motherfucking Red. Sexy Red for president. We popping out and turning the fuck up. Turn the fuck down. Right? You got all this support and your flyer looks dusty. I'm sick of it. I am sick of it. So therefore, I ended up running into a piece of content online that was voicing my sentiments to a T. So let's go ahead and pull up this young lady who talks about her unmitigated hate for Sexy Red. Now, I don't hate the lady, but I concur with what she's saying. Okay?
I hate that bitch Sexy Red. I promise you, I hate that girl. I hate her. I hate her. I wish somebody would make a diss record against her ass. I think I'm about to write a diss. I don't like that bitch. I don't like her at all. Like, she be single-handedly playing in y'all face. And I said to myself, who the fuck is her fan base? This is why I hate when y'all listen to her music. Like, y'all keep saying, like, yeah, man, but the beat hit. I don't give a fuck how much the motherfucking beat hit. Let me tell you something. Every time I hear that bitch in my motherfucking car, I turn her shit off because I know she detrimental to the black community. I know she motherfucking influencing young girls to pop they pussy open for a baby. I know that's what that bitch doing. And in the same breath, she's influencing these young girls to be ratchet, nasty, and trifling. And then she's telling y'all that y'all got carpet hair. So not only is she's influencing y'all to do that, but she's also insulting y'all at the same time. I hate that bitch. I promise you. I hate the fact that social media make everybody famous. I hate this. That's why every time I see one of my sisters going in on that bitch, I repost, share, like, comment as much as I motherfucking can. As much as I can. If y'all women up here got younger girls, okay, and within their teenage years, please talk to your girls. Please talk to your teenagers about this bitch. Make sure you tell them that this is not the way to go, because that's her fan base. Because everybody that I talk to don't really like her. So I be trying to figure out who is her fan base. It's these younger girls. It's these younger girls with fam. She is going to tear y'all daughter's self-esteem down. Keep fucking letting your daughter listen to this. I'm finna say some crazy shit. Keep letting your daughter listen to this bitch and see what happens. She gonna tear your daughter's self-esteem down piece by piece. Sexy Red is making a mockery out of black girls' hair and saying it looks like carpet and saying that it's unattractive, along with turning your daughter into whores. I hate this bitch with everything in me.
My name is J Nolan, and I approve this message. That's where I stand on it, man. So moving forward, we've gone ahead and what they call this shit, a moratorium or whatever the fuck that shit called, man. We're gonna go ahead and put a pin on the board. Sexy Red is disqualified. Please don't ask me to react to nothing she got going on. Her music, her tour. Tay Keith is a great producer. I'd rather hear him produce for other artists, and I will hear him produce for other artists. I can live without his beats on her album. You know what I'm saying? A line has to be drawn in the sand somewhere, someplace, and I'm starting with her. And to be perfectly honest, she ain't gonna be the last one. She ain't gonna be the only or the last, cause it's some shit going on in hip hop that I just can't stand or sit for. So she just the first. All right. Let me know what y'all think of all this down below in the comments. I have nothing else to add to that. She said it exactly. I'm not the one to really blame people for the detriment of blacks or the black community, because I feel like there's just so many extenuated circumstances that lend to that. And I don't blame Sexy Red for that, but I do understand that she's being used as minstrelsy. I do understand that she's being used as a pawn. I do understand that she's being used as propaganda, and I'm just not willing to feed into it. She doesn't have anything that I care to tune into, so I will live happily ever after without her. All right. Once again, let me know what y'all think of all this down below in the comments. Be sure to like and share this video. If this is your first time seeing me on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, and I will see y'all in a bit. All right. Much love and respect, y'all. Peace.
King of my city in cul-de-sac. Coming out swinging like soldier rags. Leading my people like quarterback. Boy, I study this shit, I'm an almanac. Had to get up and grind. Knowledge is booming, I'm here to apply. Came with the chip and the dip, it just single the mind. We finna do more than survive. I need my check. Spinning the block for the Gouda, we hitting the jeweler to flood out the net. We don't do beef for computers, I'm straight out the sewer, we come when you rest. Niggas be looking perplexed, so keeping my foot on their neck. No map, I trust my gut for the quest. With drama, I'm fully abreast. I was ready for years and they doubted me. All of a sudden they tell me they proud of me. I've been dropping these haters like calories. Cross them out, I came back with some boundaries. Stand for my honor, but too raw, no corner. Packing the stick with a drummer. Wanna catch my bad, won't fumble. I done came too far to be humble.